Everybody, and welcome to Raising Vibrations Astrology. And today we're going to be looking at a beginner's guide to astrology, and I'm really excited about this series, to be honest, because this is something that I've really felt was essential for those that are beginning to discover astrology for the first time and really need a helping hand, not getting lost in the abyss of all the information that's out there. So I really hope that this guide gives you a very strong sense of groundedness around what we're dealing with today. So just a couple of things that I really want to highlight for you as you are watching this video for the first time, and you're really into astrology and you're really excited about this, or somebody that has just maybe had this video passed on to you from a friend and you want to know more about it. Okay. The first interaction when you come into astrology, okay, and this is what you're going to meet, is this natal chart. Okay. And the natal chart is a mandala that is drawn up based on the information of when you were born. So a mandala itself, a chart, an astrological natal chart, is constructed using your time of birth, your date of birth, and the place and country that you were born in. And those coordinates and specific time give us an indication of the type of energy that was present in your life, or should I say around you, when you came into this world. And that imprinting then becomes this overlay in which you as a human being are going to experience how you see the world. So this is like your personal fishbowl. So why would you want to learn about the natal chart? Why would you want to learn astrology to begin with? Well, there's multiple reasons for that. But for me, I feel like one of the strongest reasons why this would be something that I highly encourage is the ability to understand how you interact with the phenomena of reality. Okay? Who are you? What conditions you? What type of reactions do you have in your life towards life? What inspires you? What drives you to do the things that you do? And so on and so forth. Okay? So all these wonderful questions that really gives you this understanding of yourself lies in this little mandala that gets created by your birth dates. Okay. So that's something that to really, really contemplate, the nature of being able to be in control of your life and to be able to have a sense of empowerment around what you are watching, what you are experiencing, and what you are here to share with everybody else. Okay. So the natal chart in itself is the first thing that you really get engaged with, and you can find out how to draw those in multiple ways on the internet. This is something that an astrologer can do for you, and you can also go onto various websites and stuff. And in the link in the description below, pardon me, there is an actual link to a video that I created on how to draw up your chart. So if you would like to do that this first time you've done that, I highly recommend checking that video out. Okay. All right. So part one, the beginner's guide. What is the natal chart? So if you go ahead and you look at this little slideshow that I've created everybody there, you can see that there is this circle that has been created with all these little funny lines and little squiggly drawings with different colors on them. Okay. Now, what you're looking at is the basic foundation of what a natal chart is drawn upon. Okay. What is the foundation? What is the structure of what a natal chart looks like? Okay. Now, in this picture, there are no planets, and of course that means that there is the aspect of the natal chart that's missing. But this is the foundation. Just like a house, you have to dig into the ground in order to create a strong foundation, so that from there you can then begin to grow your awareness. So there are a couple of things to understand and to develop language on around the natal chart. Okay. The first thing that I want to draw everybody's attention to, and you can see my cursor over there, is the word signs. If you have a look around this chart, you'll see that there are these little colors like that. Those are the 12 constellations. Okay. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Okay. These 12 signs represent the consciousness in which the natal chart is evolving through. Okay. So I'm sure you've maybe discovered at some point you are a sun sign Taurus, or you're a sun sign Aquarius, etc. That means that in this lifetime, you're learning about that energy, okay? Which is why you'll naturally attract those types of energies into your life as a way to see what that means, right? We're all come here to experience these themes. And when we get in touch with those themes, we begin to then see our soul's journey, okay? So the natal chart has these 12 constellations, and those are the signs, and they go around the chart. Then if you look inside, you can actually notice that there's these 12 pie pieces going from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, just as the signs. And these 12 houses is an extra layer of information that will influence the way that your chart works, okay? And these 12 houses is where planets exist. And so what happens is that the houses, like I said, and the signs then give us these flavors. And this is what basically creates our uniqueness. And you can see by just looking at the houses and the signs and then the planets that will come on soon, that there's an incredible amount of complexity to us. We're not just these simple beings. We're actually very complex. And the complexity is described in here, which is why it's so important to get in touch with your natal chart. Because to understand yourself gives you a better opportunity to understand others, and also relationship dynamics in themselves become a little bit easier, amongst other many, many, many things. Okay. Then, if you have a look on the chart, you will also notice that there are these 4 major points, okay? You'll see AC. If you look at these 4 red dots over there, you'll see there's AC, IC, DC, and MC. The AC stands for the ascendant. And this is the part of the chart that is called the rising sign, okay? And you'll hear a lot about that. And in part 2, I'll actually discuss that in further detail, okay? So you've got this part here called the AC, and that always begins, it's always on if you're looking at this chart over here, it's always on that side, okay? The DC is its polarity, and that means that this is other people, right? So you've got the AC, which is the rising sign, and then you've got the DC, which is others, right? How do you relate to the world? Remember, we are all in relationship to things. So the DC represents our relationship to things and whatever sign and planets are over there, okay? The IC is the part of us and is the part of your chart that shows you what type of deep, unconscious patterning exists within yourself, okay? How you were influenced, what type of environment were you growing up in, as an example. It gives you a very strong sense of this patterning in yourself. So the IC reflects to us the part of our identity that we relate to. And then if you see at the top of the chart here, the MC, imagine that this is like a lighthouse that's kind of guiding you as you're going and navigating through life. It's your navigator. It's the way that tells us which direction we're intending to go in this lifetime. And that's why it's at the top of the chart there at the 12 o'clock position. The sun's right above us and it's saying, this is the direction, okay? So the chart is drawn so far, if everybody sees, it's about 12 signs, it's about 12 houses, it's about 4 major points, and finally, we're talking about this word called house cusp. Now, the house cusp is where you've got a sign, as you can see there, there's a sign, the sign is that, and what sign is making a connection to what house? And you'll notice this in the next slide in terms of what I mean. So house cusps are very important, it's a very important language to get familiar with, okay? And you'll notice that when you begin to get more familiar with astrology, you'll say, oh, I've got Virgo on my 4th house cusp, and that will mean X, right? So house cusp, signs and houses, very important language. And then finally, the 4 cardinal points, the AC, your IC, your DC, and your MC, okay? That is the fundamental framework from any astrology chart that is basically drawn up, okay? From that point onwards, everything then takes another layer in terms of now your personality. But this is how the chart, the mandala, is drawn up, okay? So let's go have a look at an actual astrology chart. All right. So can you see here, it looks a little bit more complicated, doesn't it? Now, it's interesting because when I drew up this chart, I drew the Aries on the 1st house. So unfortunately, in this video, you won't be able to see a sign that is part of another house. Okay, and that will make a little bit more sense later. But for now, this is a natal chart. This is a full natal chart with all the planets. Okay, you can see that these little symbols are now in this this mandala. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, if you notice on my screen over here, I've got the word planets move. Okay, and you notice that in the chart over here, the planets are in kind of like circle, that they're moving in a circle form. Okay, all right, and the thing to know is that the planets move anti-clockwise in the chart. All right, so this snapshot of when you were born is the core of your essence, and that's what an astrology natal chart is. It's the core of your essence. Now, of course, as you're kind of like living your life, these planets won't stay in the same place. They'll move, right? Now, this is a very like specific thing that I need to make clear here. This chart is the snapshot for when you were born, and it stays exactly the same. However, in part 4, you'll learn about these things called transits, okay? And when you understand transits, you will know that the planets don't just stay in that place, they move, right? But your core natal chart at that moment then becomes that history, that part of you. So when you're looking at planets in a chart, you will notice that the planets will move anti-clockwise around the chart. So there you can see the symbolism over here, and it's got a 20 next to it. The next like maybe 4 or 5 days, it will click into 21. Does that make sense? So, and they go around the chart going this way. So that's something that's really important to understand about a natal chart, is that planets move anti-clockwise. Okay. Now remember in the previous slide, I spoke about the signs. Okay. That's the constellations, and the constellations actually move clockwise. All right. So you've got planets moving anti-clockwise in the house positions, and you've got constellations moving clockwise. And that's what's evolution. That's what's the archetype of evolution. Okay. So when you're looking at us evolving as human beings, the planets are moving in a certain direction, the constellations are moving in a certain direction, and that interaction in itself creates the natural experience of evolution. Okay. Now, can you see over here, I've written the word planets and signs. That's the planets over there. There's the symbols again. They're called symbols. And you can see there, you've got all those symbols over there. You would be familiar with this one. This is your sun sign. Okay, as you can see, that's the sun, right? The center. And then, of course, you've got your signs as well. So in this case, if you look, that person's planet is in the sign Capricorn. Okay, can you see there? So the natal chart is drawn where the planets are in signs, and that then becomes this story that you have come to learn. So part of understanding astrology, I would recommend, is then learning about these things called archetypes, these things called the 12 constellations. Learn about what Aries means, learn about what Taurus means. And that's when you begin to synthesize, the word synthesize, the planets and the houses. But that, again, like I said, it's a very complicated experience. And for now, we're just talking about the fundamentals. So as you can see, planet, and it's in a sign, and it's in a house. And that whole entire story creates, or that whole entire description creates the way in which your life is going to unfold for you, basically, and how you're going to experience it and watch it. The final thing that I want to draw everybody's attention to is this thing here, where you can see that these lines, okay? What are these lines? Well, they're called aspects, okay? The lines are called aspects. And basically what aspects mean is that each planet is, or let me start like this. As you can see, this natal chart is drawn, and it is a full circle. And the circle is 360 degrees. And so these aspects talk about the degrees that each planet have with each other, okay? And that's something that's really, that you'll discover, a lot through learning astrology, is that aspects are degrees in which planets interact with each other, and they describe the flavor of how those planets are going to work, okay? So don't feel overwhelmed. It's okay, right? It's completely understandable to feel like, oh my gosh, house, signs, planets, this, that, and then it's now this, there's multiple layers. Just deep breathe and say, I'm here to learn astrology. I'm here to learn these things, and this video is here to help me. And again, just slowly through the process, okay? The aspects are just describing to us the way the planets are going to interact with each other. It's like the way that they communicate. Now, if a planet, for instance, is in something like this green line over here, the communication is not going to be so friendly because that green line indicates an angle where it's kind of blind, okay? Just as imagine if you were sitting in a car and you were facing head like this, and then all of a sudden there was a planet at that degree over there. Imagine how you were driving, needing to pay attention. All of a sudden, this planet's in the corner over there saying, hey, by the way, pay attention to me. I'm trying to say something. And you're like, yes, what? But then you're like getting all cuddled up because it's like, you got to focus there and you got to do all this. It's like, it's frustrating. That's how that energy will actually play out in the chart. It will be all frustrating, right? So you get to understand why you might be frustrated about certain things. So the aspects give you a very, very beautiful, personality around how your consciousness and psyche is operating. And of course, this is what this is doing. The natal chart reflects to you the psyche, okay? So we've got planets, we've got signs, we've got planets and how they move anti-clockwise, and the constellations move clockwise. And this is your natal chart. And it's a beautiful map that gives you a beautiful opportunity to discover yourself in a magical way, okay? And then finally, you've got your aspects, which are these lines over here, these ways in which these planets are talking to each other, okay? Some of them are positive, some of them are challenging, some of them create evolution, some of them are just feeling as if you're consistently opposed by stuff, and they're all just shifting and evolving your awareness in multiple ways, okay? All right, okay, so I think that that's the end of that slideshow over there. What I wanted to say to everybody as I just quickly go back to the main screen is that this is the first video, part 1 of the natal chart. I really hope that it gave you a sense of orientation around what an astrology chart looks like, what are the most fundamental things that you will come across as you learn to discover astrology for the first time. And please, the one thing that you can do for me in the most heartfelt sense on my side is give yourself time to learn and discover and understand what this is about, okay? Just like with everything in life, it's going to take patience and it's going to take a sense of just creative enjoyment. This is here to discover. And so if you're going to say to yourself, oh, I can't get it after the first one, or the mind is telling you that this is too overwhelming and I can't get it, take a deep breath, explore, read, find the joy in the process. And at the end of the day, this video is designed for that. So watch it 1,000 times if you have to, just so that you get that core thing done, okay? All right, everybody. In the description below, and you can go there right now if you want to, is my link to my website, and you can absolutely go and check out what I do, read some articles that I've written over there, and for more information about how this world works, the website that I have has got a lot of information over there, okay? So you can go and check that out right now if you want to. Other than that, part 2 of this series is about to begin, and I see you in part 2. Take care. Bye-bye.